Hey Internet, it's Matt here for the Dork Lords. And today I thought I'd talk a little bit about Game of Thrones. Obviously, this weekend, episode 1 of season 8, the final season. And there's only 6 episodes total, so you know each episode is going to be chock full of momentous events. And there's tons of questions people have. Who's going to sit on the Iron Throne at the end of all this? Will there be an Iron Throne at the end of all this? Who lives? Who dies? These are questions people want to know the answers to. But the question I want to know the answer to the most is, what does the Night King want? I don't think he's just some force of nature moving through, turning everybody into zombies, and that's his ultimate goal. Okay, so assuming the Night King has a want, what is it? All right, a little background first. Obviously, we've seen there's the Night King, there's the White Walkers, and then there's the Whites. And they should make a distinction between them, right? So think of it like if you were a mad scientist and you had a robot army. The Whites would be your robots, right? So maybe you've got you and your minions, and you've got maybe, 20 minions. And then underneath that, you've got this giant robot army. Well, you don't think of the robots really as your kin, as your unit. You think of yourself as above them, and they're just tools that you're using for domination. And I think that's kind of what we get with the Whites. Right? He can create all the Whites he wants, all the robots, in my analogy, but that's not really it's not connected to him. He's just creating tools for destruction. So it's really the White Walkers that's his society, his cultural unit. And the only way we've seen that he can create White Walkers is through what was Craster, right? So Craster would sacrifice his sons, only his sons, to the White Walkers. And we saw the shot, I think it was season 4 maybe, where they take the little baby to the circle, and we see the Night King touch the kid on the cheek and turns the kid into, we assume, a White Walker. And so we can guess that all of the White Walkers, we've seen maybe 12, 13 of them, something like that, that they are all male. And they're just, that's his society. And that's the only way, apparently, what we've seen on the TV show anyway. There's maybe some suggestions of other stuff in the books, but TV-wise, what we've seen is the way the Night King creates his kin is by having somebody sacrifice a baby to him. Okay, so with that in mind, I think as he, another thing that was interesting to me is at the final episode of season 7, 2 momentous things happened right at the end of the final episode. We had Jon and Dany have sex, right? Consummate their relationship, and then there's a quick scene, I think, with Arya and Sansa, and then immediately we're up to Night King takes down the wall with Viserion, white zombie Viserion. Okay, now obviously he had a dragon finally, and so he could take down the wall. But I find it interesting that we see what we can assume is that Dany and Jon conceive a child, and then the Night King finally attacks the wall. I don't think that's necessarily an accident. I think what the Night King's goal is to basically acquire the child that will be born of Jon and Dany. I'm thinking he wants a queen. I think that the child yet to be born of Dany and Jon is a female, and that this is basically the Night King's way of finally being able to have an heir, to have his own family, not being reliant on people sacrificing babies to him. So really that's the main goal. I feel like we'll be able to tell fairly quickly. Does he put Dany in danger? Obviously, he's maybe want to kidnap Dany, but not kill her until she's given birth, at least. And she may not give birth through this entire season just because events are happening so quickly. But I feel like it's Dany's kid that's in trouble. Think about it this way too. More evidence was when Jon goes north of the Wall, and it seems like the Night King lays a trap for him and holds him in place on that little island until Dany comes with her dragons. Then he takes down a dragon, and then he uses that dragon. I mean, he's got a plan in mind, it seems like. When he's able, he's in the moment to acquire a dragon. He's got the ice spear that one of his White Walker minions has given him. And I went back and watched that scene just recently again, just to kind of confirm this, and it's what I thought it was. Dany is on Drogon, and Drogon is on the ground, and he's flanking the Night King. So he's got this huge broadside of Drogon to throw at if he wants. And Drogon is a stationary target. But Dany is on top of Drogon in that moment. And so instead of throwing at this spear at the easy to hit actually also the largest of the dragons, probably if your whole goal was just, I want a dragon, you would probably throw it at the stationary target that also happens to be the biggest dragon of the group. But instead, he throws a spear at the flying dragon that's, much harder to hit, obviously, and is not the size of Drogon. Hits Viserion. We know the rest. Takes Viserion. Now, does he eventually throw a spear in the direction of Drogon as Drogon's flying away? Yes. But he misses completely, by the way, which, again, Drogon is huge. Drogon's a jumbo jet, and dude missed him completely. Didn't hit a wing, didn't hit anything on him. I think that was more to scare off Daenerys, to say, look, I'm a threat to you, so please don't come and try to, hit me with dragon fire. Go away now. So it was remove the threat, but not injure Daenerys in any way, because she was very important. So he gets the dragon. Daenerys is okay. I think that's his ultimate goal, is to go where Dany is. So wherever Dany goes in this season, I have a feeling that's where the Night King's army is going to follow. I could be completely wrong. But I'm just trying to think, what is it that the Night King wants? And I'm having a hard time coming up with it. That seems to be perhaps a motivation that fits in line with the rest of what this book series is about. It's about family lines and what defines them, and how their individual failings, maybe keep that particular house from achieving greatness or whatever. And so in this case, here's a house that is stalled by the very nature of what the Night King is, and perhaps the fact that Dany and Jon's baby could have that royal blood. Remember when Melisandre is trying to cast spells for the Lord of Light, she needs royal blood. She needs that, there's something special about certain individuals, and the fact that this kid would be the ultimate special, amazing child, perhaps could survive this process of being turned into a White Walker, to the point that it's like some kind of a hybrid or something that otherwise would not exist, that makes this person special and could be the Night King's queen. There you go, everybody. What are your thoughts? Feel free to tear this theory down or support it if you wish. I wouldn't mind that. But let me know how excited you are for episode 1. It's coming right, just a couple of days away. We can see it. So thanks so much, everybody. Talk to you next time. Bye.